Hi everybody and good morning. Welcome to Twitch if you've never been on here before, and welcome to our first live stream of the semester. My name is Elisa Setmire. I am your instructor for this class. I see a bunch of you joining me, which is just fantastic. Thank you so much for being on here live with me. Can you all hear me and see me okay? If you want to communicate anything to me during the chat or during our session here, put your thoughts in the chat and I will see them. So someone let me know with like a thumbs up or a yes. Can you all hear me and see me just fine on your end before we get started here, just to double check? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay, good, good, good. I'm on campus, and sometimes the internet on our campus is not fantastic. So I'm glad that everything is coming through just fine. Wonderful. Thank you. And again, as we go through this, if you've never used Twitch before, communicating with me via the chat is your way to go. I'm monitoring it on my phone. And so if you have any questions, you can always ask me and I'm happy to answer them. This is a wonderful opportunity every week for you to ask me questions live if there's something you're confused about or want me to go over, and just for us to check in and kind of go over what is due for the week. This week, this will be the longest session that we'll have. I want to go through Canvas just a little bit, show you the ebook site, kind of talk about the class in general. Normally, you can plan on about like 30 to 40 minutes or so at the most, and it'll kind of get a little shorter as we go through the semester and you know what to expect. And if you're not able to join me live, these will be recorded and posted on our Canvas site so you can watch them later, or if maybe you have to leave or it cuts out or something like that. But as I mentioned, my name is Elisa Setmire. I am your instructor for this class. You can call me Elisa, you can call me Setmire, you can call me Professor Setmire. And what I want to do today is just kind of go through our Canvas page just a little bit, show you the ebook site, and make sure that you're feeling good about the class. So if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to ask. I'm here and I'm happy to answer them. So very exciting. Like, our class just started. We have 8 weeks together. I'm looking forward to it. This is our Canvas page that we have here. If you have gotten to this point and logged into Canvas, you should be in really good shape. Everything is either on here or linked out from here. So if you can get to this point, and then we'll talk about the ebook in a couple of minutes, you should be in a wonderful spot. But you'll notice this is the home page. There's a little description, which will always stay the same. And then underneath that, you can see all the links to the class materials. So here's the spot to start, where it says start here with the mandatory orientation stuff. There's some information about how to contact me, some help and campus resources, course documents and videos, and then after that you can just see the 8 different weeks that we have, and each one is linked to that corresponding week and the content that is due. So let's click here where it says start here. I think that is a great place to start. You'll notice if you scroll up here just a little bit, I have all of the documents on here. So right here is the syllabus. There's a little welcome letter that I sent out on Monday. There's some information about the book, how to register and purchase it, some sample stuff, a video overview, lots of kind of helpful documents. And let's take a look at the syllabus together first. And I'm not going to go through everything, but this is definitely something that you want to read through and know where to find it. It tells you our class information, my name, my email. As a side note, it is always better to email me. If you ever have questions, I check my email all the time. I'll get back to you usually within a pretty short amount of time, a couple of hours. Might be a little longer on the weekend or in the evening, but I'm really good at checking my email. I am in my office right now and my phone is here, but I rarely pick up my phone. I'm so guilty. I'm so sorry. But if you email me, I promise I will get back to you pretty quickly. There's also some information about the dean and the department chair should you need it. Make sure you read through all this on your own, the course description and objectives and outcomes. Those are all the things that you can plan on us covering over the course of our class. I want to talk about the textbook a little bit, and I'll talk more about it later. But you do need to purchase a book for this class in order to have any chance at success. And it's an ebook, so you need to buy the ebook version. And the reason for that is because all of the exams are on there. So not only are the chapters on there that you'll be reading, but also the tests and exams. So you'll notice that the book is called Psyched. And you might even notice that I wrote it. So it is a book that I have put together and written myself. And the advantage to that is that I was able to make sure that the price was really affordable. An average intro psych textbook is like $250, $280. I believe ours is like $78 to $80 something dollars. So it's definitely more affordable. I know books are expensive, but you do need to get this right away and get it purchased and registered. You might want to download the Canvas app or the Twitch app to like a phone or a tablet. Make sure you have obviously access to a computer and internet. And those are basically the things that you're going to need in order to be successful in this class. I gave you some kind of computer and system suggestions and requirements, but as long as you have a working computer with good internet, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. Some codes of conduct and policies and so on. I really want this to be a fun and engaging class. We don't do a lot of interacting in person, but there will be a lot of interacting on our discussion boards and maybe here on Twitch. Let's always try and be respectful of each other and kind and just kind of keep that in mind as we're going through. Be mindful of each other's emotions and your own in the things that you're posting and saying. This is a really big one, and I'll spend some time talking about this probably several times. Our class, the way that it's set up, is you have the course of 2 weeks to complete all materials. So you basically have access to 2 weeks of material at a time. Now, traditionally, I usually do 1 week, but because this it was like a pace course in the beginning, I've given you 2 weeks just to give you a little more flexibility. So what will happen is on a Monday morning at 12:01 a.m., everything for 2 weeks will open up. And then on a Sunday night, at the end of those 2 weeks, it will all close. Now, because you have so much flexibility, I don't accept materials beyond the deadline. So once the material and the deadline has passed for those 2 weeks, it is unfortunately too late to submit anything. So please make sure you're trying to plan ahead. If you know you're going to have a busy week next week, get it all done this week and vice versa. So please try and kind of be mindful of your time. Discussions and exams, I will not accept them after their due date. There is one exception. Okay, so if you have something come up, and I know that life happens, emergencies happen, we get sick. I have 3 children, so there's always something going on. As long as you email me before the deadline passes, I am happy to work with you and give you an extension if you need it. If you email me at 11:58 p.m. before the deadline, I will work with you. If you email me at 12:01 a.m. after the deadline, I will tell you it is too late. So that is my one kind of really hard rule. If you need more time, if something happens, I'm a person too, I completely understand. Reach out to me, and I'm willing to work with you as long as you reach out before the deadline. Please don't copy or cheat. Give me all of your own beautiful creative work. There's some kind of campus policy stuff. And then you can see your grade. And your grade in this class basically breaks down to these 5 items. There's a little mandatory orientation quiz, which is due by tonight, and I'll show you that later. And I'll show you where you can find the ebook link in just a moment, so thank you for asking. I'll show you in just a second here. There are also some discussions that you'll be doing. Every week you are in charge of completing 2 discussions, so 4 for every 2 weeks. There's a couple of little self-assessments that you'll do throughout the semester, kind of reflecting on your effort and grades and progress so far. There's a brief closing assignment at the end, and then there are 4 exams, each worth 75 points. So those things together make up your grade, and you can see that it's all just based on points, and I have the distribution for that right here. I will always give you a study guide for exams. We'll talk a lot about exam number 1 next week when week number 2 is kind of in full swing. But these are the things you can expect to be graded on over the course of the semester. If you have a memo with access, if you have accommodations for extra time or you need other accommodations, make sure you get it to me as soon as possible. And I'm happy to work with you to make sure you're all set up for whatever you need. There's some more information here about like student tech support, college information like the student service syllabus, the deadlines, and so on. And then underneath that, what you'll see is just the schedule for our class. So right now, as of Monday, we are in weeks number 1 and 2. And these are all the materials that need to be completed for weeks number 1 and 2, which will close on March 19th at 11:59 p.m. So just always keep that in mind. You have a 2-week segment at every point, and you'll always know what's due. I have that in the announcements. You can find it under each corresponding week, or you can always come back to the syllabus and check. And you'll see that all the way through. We have our spring break in the middle. And then our class, I'm going to mention it now, and I'll remind you a million times later, but our class does end on a Friday in May. So normally it's Monday to Sunday, but that last week it does end on a Friday. And I'll remind you a bunch of times when we get closer. And things are definitely a little more normal than they have been, but I have this little COVID statement down at the bottom. I know that things are still at times a little unpredictable. We're all still fighting, do we have a cold or do we have COVID or what is it? But I hope that we have a really wonderful online class together. I've been teaching online now for like about 15 years. I'm very organized. I hope that comes through. And I hope that we have a really nice class. So again, this is the syllabus. I went through it kind of quickly, but make sure that you look over it on your own. There are a bunch of other resources underneath it, like the welcome letter that I sent out. Here's the information about the textbook. Somebody had just asked about the ebook. So if you click on this textbook information right here, it'll give you the link right here to purchase it. There's also some email information here if you're running into a problem. Let's say you can't log in, or maybe you forgot your password. Here's the email or phone number that you could reach out to. If you're having problems during the semester, here is their email for like support if something is causing you problems. You can, of course, always email me, but I gave you all their information here as well if you'd like to reach out. And you really do need to get this right away. The deadline for the mandatory orientation quiz is tonight at 11:59 p.m. So make sure you get your book, you register it. We'll go check out the book in a few minutes, and I'll show you what that looks like. But you want to get this right away, and it's really important that you do so that you can get that quiz completed before tonight. So that's where you can find the textbook information. And then if you scroll down here, once you get past these other resources, here's that little mandatory orientation lecture that you're going to want to also read through before you take the quiz. So let's take a look at that really quickly together. And this is just going to give you a little bit of an overview. And you'll see that it's in this like 5-tab format. And that's what you can figure on seeing all semester long. You're going to get every lecture will be in the same 5-tab format. And that will allow you to kind of not have it be like one really long page. So just don't forget that there's all these little tabs up here. Somebody said everything on the course so far really lets it come through that you're wanting us to succeed. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Autumn, for saying that. I do want you to be successful. And I'm sad I don't see you in person, but that doesn't mean we won't have a wonderful class together. So thank you. Thank you for saying that. What you'll also see on here is there's always going to be audio at the top. If you would rather listen to me read the text to you, I have recorded all of it. If you miss the sound of my voice, you can listen to me reading it, and you'll find that on every page. So make sure you go through this before you take the quiz, but it's just going to kind of give you a little overview of what you can expect. Okay, so you're going to want to read or listen to all these pages, read through the syllabus that we just kind of looked at quickly together. And then once you've done those two things, you can complete the quiz on the ebook site. And we'll talk about that more in a moment. You're also going to want to find me on YouTube and Twitch. So if you are joining me, and there are 25 of you in here with me, which is fantastic, you're going to want to find me on both of these platforms. I use a lot of YouTube videos, and I will be using Twitch as a way to connect with you every week. Now, I've given you links to my YouTube channel and the Twitch channel. If you're watching this live, you already found me. I would love to ask you to subscribe to my Twitch channel. And the reason I'm doing that is there's several reasons. And I'm going to kind of describe that today, and I'll remind you every time we meet. But YouTube and Twitch obviously do have ads. So if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, then you do not have to deal with ads other than at the beginning. You'll get a notification when I'm online so you don't miss streams. You can chat with me privately during streams. You get a football cake next to your name, and I'm a big football fan and a big cake fan, so that's fun. And selfishly, when you join me live on one of these live streams, I can download a list of people who participated. And that really saves me so much time. If you are subscribed, you will be on that list, and that saves me an incredible amount of effort. So in addition to having some benefits that help you, it also really, really helps me in terms of that. There is a way that you can subscribe for free. It takes a couple of steps to do, and I have all of that kind of spelled out for you on this link right here. So if you could find some time this week to figure that out, I would really appreciate it. If you have Amazon Prime, it is completely free to subscribe to one channel, and you could do that for the semester. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I even sent out a link to how you can get that free for 6 months as a student. So please take some time, find me on YouTube, find me and subscribe on Twitch if you can. Please don't pay for this. I don't want you to be giving me money. I just want you to be able to follow me, to not have to deal with ads. And again, it saves me so much time to be able to download those of you who are watching it. One last thing about that too, if you're not able to join me live, I can download and see who watched this later if you are subscribed. And that will allow you to still get the extra credit for joining me, even if you cannot make it live. So that's a really big benefit for those of you who maybe work or have a class at this time. If you can figure that out, I will be able to see that you have been joining me. On the second page here, a little bit about the course, and I kind of went over this, but every week you will be reading 2 chapters in the ebook. You'll also have some lectures and lecture videos to watch. You'll do 2 discussions every week and 1 exam every 2 weeks. You'll also have a couple of self-assessments and a closing assignment at the end, and everything will be compiled for you under those weekly folders so that you can always know what's expected. I also will send out a reminder every Monday about what to do for that week, and I'll go over it every Wednesday on these Twitch live streams. The next page is a little bit about myself, so I hope you take some time to read through it. I am a huge football fan. I've been a Tom Brady fan forever, and he retired. We'll see if he stays retired. But I've been a Brady fan for 20-something years. I became a Bucks fan a couple of years ago because of it, and now I don't know who to root for. I'm also a big Mahomes fan, and I love football. I'm obsessed with football and fantasy football. Oh, because we're in my office, look at, I can show this off. It's probably not very kind of me, but look at, here's my trophy for winning my fantasy football league this year. I'm very proud of it. We'll just leave it right here so that I can stare at it. Very exciting. I love escape rooms. I'm obsessed with them. I've done 98 escape rooms. They are my absolute favorite thing to do. I love to camp. I love food. Thank you for the congratulations. I play the guitar. I have 3 little kids and a bunch of pets. If I ever do these live streams at home, you will likely see my cats who love to come into these live streams. I have a background in counseling psychology, so I'm actually trained as a therapist, but I've been teaching now for about 15 years and not practicing as a therapist. So that's a little bit about me. You're welcome to call me Elisa. You can call me Setmire. You can call me Professor Setmire. Dr. Setmire is a lie, but it's a nice one, so it's okay. But that is a little bit about me. I give you a little more on here if you want to read through it. I love food and cake and football, and yeah, that kind of sums me up right there. There's a little bit about computer stuff. If you're finding that you're struggling with your computer or any kind of internet settings, I have some suggestions for you here that might be helpful. And then finally on the last page, there's some, like if you still need help. If you need help, there's some great resources like our distance education website. If it's with Canvas, you can call Canvas support. If you're having problems with the ebook, I give you their email and their phone number. And of course, you can always reach out to me. I am here and I'm happy to help. Cats are 100% welcome to interrupt the stream. Yes, I agree. I have 4 of them, and if we ever, if I'm doing these at home, yes, Rolly, that's right. Yep, I do have a very big fat cat named Rolly, and he made it into my live stream last week. So, and my favorite type of food, my favorite food is chocolate cake. I love cake. It's kind of an ongoing joke. You'll notice that if you subscribe to my channel, it is a football cake. It kind of looks like a hamburger, but it's a football cake. That is by far my favorite food. So make sure that you read through all of this. I've given you kind of like the highlights, but you're going to want to read through all of that. And then I have a bunch of other resources on here that might be helpful. I have some frequently asked questions that I've compiled. I made a little student lounge for discussion. If you all would like to talk to each other and help each other out, that's a great place for you to do that. Here's the page that gives you step-by-step instructions for subscribing to my channels. If you click on that, what I did is, the first one's easy. YouTube is pretty simple. It's just a quick click. But Twitch is a little more complicated. So what I did is I gave you step-by-step instructions with pictures on how to link your Amazon and Twitch accounts. I also gave you a video at the bottom that might be really helpful if you're still a little bit confused. And again, please do not pay for this, but if you can figure it out, I would greatly appreciate it, and it's going to benefit you quite a bit as well. A few other things underneath here, there's some information about if you need help with technology, if you're struggling with Canvas, a little bit about grades, student services, and psych major information. So these are all just kind of help and campus resources. If you're still confused, these are things that are going to be really helpful for you. And of course, if you are confused, you can always reach out to me. Again, I am here. So once you have read through the lecture, once you have purchased your book, and you have read through the syllabus, the next step is to go to the ebook site. So let's go ahead and do that together. But before we go over to the ebook site, does anybody have any other questions or anything so far? I know I'm talking a ton. I just want to make sure that you feel good about everything. But any questions, comments, thoughts before we go over to the ebook site? Bring up my other screen on my side here. I'm going to wait just a second. You're usually about 30 seconds behind me, so I want to make sure. How long you should spend on the course each week. So that's kind of up to you, right? So in general, for a 3-unit class, typically you can expect to spend about 3 hours in person and then another 3 hours or so outside of that. So I would say that's kind of a good rough estimate. So you should be reading the chapters, which depending on the speed of which you read could take you anywhere from like 20 minutes to, 40 minutes. And then you're going to want to watch the lecture videos and watch the read through the lectures. Now this class is only 8 weeks. So what that means is we're basically cramming 2 weeks of material into one. So it's definitely a little more intense than a traditional full semester class. So maybe plan on like at least 6 to maybe 10 hours a week to complete everything, depending on the pace and the content. Yes, so at the end, what I will do is kind of toward the end of every live stream, I will give you an extra credit question for joining me live, and I'll show you how to answer that and what that looks like. So we'll get to that in maybe about like 15 minutes or so. Again, today's going to be probably the longest live stream we will ever have, just to make sure we go over everything together. So yes, I will give you a question every week that we do one of these, and it'll be worth 2 points if you want to answer it and have joined me live or are subscribed and watching this later. Okay? Thank you for asking questions. It's so nice to be able to interact with you even though I can't see you. I love it. So thank you so much. So on the homepage here is a link to the ebook site. Now, once you purchase and register the ebook, you're going to want to either bookmark this or just know it's right here for you. And then you'll go and you will log in, like I logged in already. And this is what the ebook site looks like. So you'll see it says Psyched 4th edition up here at the top. And then there's a couple of tabs. There's a welcome, chapters, resources, exams, and gradebook. So once you're on here, I made a little video if you want me to give you kind of a longer overview than we're doing right now. The welcome is just this page. This is where you can find all the chapters for the book. So if you click on chapters, it's going to bring up a list of every single chapter. There are 16 in this textbook. And again, I wrote these, right? And hopefully you find them to be enjoyable. I think you can kind of hear my voice. I talk about food and football way too much in there. But let's say, for example, you click on chapter 2. What it'll do is it'll bring up chapter 2 for you, and there's kind of sections that you can jump to. There's an outline at the top of what you can expect to cover, and some objectives of what you should learn in that chapter. And then underneath is the chapter. So here's the summary, and then it gets right into the content. You can see I put lots of images in here. There's examples. And so make sure you're reading through these. I have some little apply it boxes to kind of how can you take this and use it in your life in some way. Little boxes about like things that are related. And so again, as you're going through these, you're going to want to read through these chapters. All the key terms are in bold. And then when we get to the end, you'll see that they're all defined for you. So I'm just kind of scrolling through kind of quickly just to show you. And at the end, you'll always find a little like in pop culture section. There's always going to be one like YouTube video that I made that goes with it, application, and then the key terms are at the bottom. You can click on them and it'll give you all of the key terms and their definitions. So someone said, should we be memorizing the vocab at the bottom of the book? What I will do, I'll talk about this later, but there's a study guide for every exam. And you're going to want to know all the terms on the study guide. So next week, we'll talk more about that. But anything on the study guide will be fair game on the exams. And I'll show you where you can find those. And we'll talk about how to prepare a little bit more next week. Okay, so all of the chapters, sorry, I'm going to scroll up quickly here. Watch your eyes. All of the chapters are under this little tab. There's a tab that has additional resources. Now, these are things you don't ever have to use, but there's a flashcard for every key term. There's some little test yourself activities that I made. I shared with you my PowerPoint slides that I use in person. We don't do warm-ups and activities. If you were taking this with me in person, you would use those. But the top couple of things might be helpful, like the test yourself and the key terms and all of that. We'll talk about the tests next week. They're in the like 70 to 80 question range. And again, I will make sure to go through all of that and let you know what to expect and how to prepare for our week 2 live stream next week. Okay? I know exams cause everyone anxiety. I promise I will set you up for success. As long as you study and prepare, you should do really well on the exams. They're very straightforward. I will never trick you. So as long as you know everything on the study guide, you'll be in wonderful shape. Okay. The exams are right here if you click on exams. And this is where you're going to complete that mandatory orientation quiz. You'll see it's right here. It's due by tonight at 11:59 p.m. It's a very, very quick little review. And this is just my way of making sure that you've purchased your book, that you've read through everything, that you're involved, we're on the same page, and you're ready to go. Please be sure to complete this by midnight tonight if you would like to stay in the class. And if something has come up where you can't do that, make sure you reach out to me before the deadline and we can work something out. So when you're ready, you'll see there's some instructions. You have 15 minutes. You get 1 attempt, so be ready and organized. And you need to make sure you save your answers. So let's take a look at this together. When you're ready, you'll hit begin your attempt, and it's going to bring up the quiz. And it looks just like this. There's a little clock at the top. Make sure you're mindful of your time. When you run out of time, it will stop you wherever you're at. There's a list of 10 questions, and you can skip, right? So let's say you don't know the answer to this one. You could always skip to number 2, and then you'll see that it's gray now. Right? And so you'll say, oh, I don't know that one either. I'm going to skip to number 3. So what you want is to make sure that everything is like an orange gold color and saved, and then you can submit it for your grade when you're done. So let's say, look at this one. The ebook and all quizzes for in exams can be found on an external site linked through Canvas. So let's say I click that one, and then I'm going to save. When I save, it turns that like gold orange color. This course is self-paced, allowing you to work ahead through the semester at your own pace. That is false, right? You can work through 2 weeks, but only 2 weeks at a time, and then save. Right? So now you can see the ones that I've answered and haven't answered. If I skipped it, it's gray. Which of the following is not true about your instructor? I definitely do not hate football. So save, right? And again, once they're all like that gold orange color, I gave you a couple of freebies here. You can hit I am finished and submit for a grade. And when you hit submit, it will give you an instant score. So you'll know right away how you did. I got a shameful 3 out of 10. But in all fairness, I only answered 3. So you can see the ones that you got wrong. You can see the ones that you got right. I want to point out one little thing. When you finish the exam, or when you finish the quiz, your score does not automatically come over to Canvas. So if you did the mandatory orientation quiz and you do not see a score in Canvas yet, that is completely okay. What happens is once the deadline passes, I go in, I bring all the scores over manually. You can always find your score on here in the meantime. So there is a little grade book on here right at the top. Your official grades will always be in Canvas, but until I bring them over, you can always see your score in here in the meantime. So don't panic if you don't see your scores for exams in Canvas right away. Typically, once the 2-week section has ended, I will grade everything that Monday night, and then I will send out an email with some general feedback. We'll talk about it during the live stream, and you'll be able to see your grades. And we'll talk a little bit more about that after the first 2 weeks have ended. But don't worry if you don't see your score on Canvas. It will just be housed here temporarily. Okay, so this is the ebook site. And again, right away, really important that you get that book today. If you haven't already gotten it, make sure that you get it registered, get yourself all logged in and set. Make sure you take that mandatory orientation quiz before tonight. Everything else is due by Sunday night, that on the 19th. But that one thing is due right away because the add drop deadline is actually pretty quick for an 8-week class. Okay, so if we go back to Canvas here, I have the ebook site linked right here. You can find the purchase information if you haven't already done that right here under modules, textbook information right here. I also sent out an announcement about it. If you're not getting my announcements, make sure that you go through and set your Canvas notifications. I will send out a lot of reminders. You can see I've already sent all these out and we just started. So every time we start a new week, I'll send out a reminder. When we have a live stream, I'll remind you the day before. And then sometimes I'll even remind you like 30 minutes before. I did that today in hopes that it'd be helpful. Okay, so we are officially, as of Monday, in week number 1. Okay, so right now, these are the materials for week number 1 that are available for you. And week number 2 is also opened up, because remember, you have access to 2 weeks at a time. Can't access week 3 yet, right? So everything from weeks 1 and 2 is due by March 19th at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to focus on week 1, because that's the week we're in. And then next week, I'll talk about week 2 and the exam and all of that. So what you can expect is that every week you'll have 2 chapters to read, 2 discussions, and then sometimes you'll have an exam or like a little self-assessment. So this week we're focusing on chapter 1 and chapter 2. And what I would recommend is the first thing you do is you're probably going to want to read chapters 1 and 2 in the ebook, right? I think that's a good place to start. So here's chapter 1 and 2. You can read them online at whatever pace is comfortable for you. You don't need to take notes, but you want to read through them and make sure you understand. I've also given you a lecture and a lecture video for each chapter. So for each chapter, there's kind of 3 main components. There is the ebook chapter, the lecture, and the lecture video. And you're going to want to complete all 3 of those to maximize your chances of being successful. So let's take a look at what the lecture looks like, just so you have an idea of what to expect. And again, it's in that same 5-tab format. The first page is always objectives and summary. And of course, you can listen to it. I recorded all of them. So these are the things you can plan to learn, and then a little summary of the chapter. The second page is always going to be stuff beyond the book. If I give you a video, watch it, right? So if I make a little video about the history of psychology or the many faces of psychology, those are going to be helpful, right? Watch them, take notes, pay attention. It might help you on the exam. The third page is always going to be in pop culture. Here are some shows or books or movies or things that relate to popular culture that connect to what we're talking about. The fourth page will always be key terms and review. Here are the terms you need to know for this chapter on the exam. This is kind of like your running study guide. So for chapter 1, these are the terms I want you to know. And then the last page is always going to be application. Now that you've read this, here are the some ways you can apply it. So click on anything that I put in here, watch any video that I put in. All of it together is going to allow you to understand the materials. And then I've also, in addition to that, what I've done is I've created a lecture to slides. And this is what you would have gotten if you took this with me in person, but a little more condensed. So like if you click on chapter 1, for example, this one's a YouTube video. Sometimes there'll be a Zoom link. If I have a lot of outside clips, I can't post that on YouTube. But you're going to want to watch these and take notes. This is me lecturing about the topic. It's going to be really helpful for you in understanding the materials. And you'll want to do that for each chapter that you have every week. So for chapter 1, read the chapter, read the lecture, watch the lecture video. Same thing for chapter 2. And then every week you will have 2 discussions to complete, and these are going to be related to the reading. So you're going to want to do all of the reading first, or you won't be able to answer the questions. So let's take a look at discussion 1, for example. And you'll see one big thing, something I'm really big on is consistency. So you can plan on the very similar format every week. Every discussion will have the same format and style. Every week will have the same format and style. Hopefully that way it makes it very easy for you to keep everything straight and keep everything organized. So you'll see at the top here, it says, watch my little video. Some of these are a little older, my hair's so short. But watch the videos. I go over the prompt. I give you examples. I kind of walk you through them. And then you're going to want to answer all of my questions that are below. These are going to be things related to the reading, related to the lecture. Think about them as like little mini papers. Don't think about it as like a brief thing. I want you to really elaborate, show off your knowledge, show off your understanding, show me that you get it and that you can apply it. So think of them as like little mini papers. I also want you to read through a minimum of 5 of your classmates' responses and reply to 1 of them. So in total, each discussion is worth 15 points, 13 for your responses to my questions, and then 2 for your responses to a classmate. I have a little rubric right here. It shows you a sample of what I'm expecting. But if you're always really elaborating and answering these things fully, you're going to get those points. And then don't forget to reply to a classmate, which is a very easy 2 points to receive. So for this discussion, we're looking at the history and scope of psychology. So you're going to watch my video and then answer these 3 questions. When you're ready, what you do is you hit reply, and that's going to bring up a spot where you can type your responses. Not a bad idea to save your responses just in case something happens or it gets deleted somehow. But you can see a couple of you, or one of you at least, Tom, has already done this. And so what you'll want to do is not only reply to me, but you're going to also reply to a classmate to get those full points. So you'll be doing this twice every week, and that's going to make up a lot of your grades. So really put some effort into these. Discussion number 2 is about chapter 2. Same thing, watch my video, be detailed and answer all of my questions that I have here, and then don't forget to reply to a classmate. And you're going to follow that format every week, reading the chapters, reading the lecture, watching the video, 2 discussions, and then there's always going to be a little extra credit question that I give you on these live streams. And then here I will post the recording when we're done. So as soon as we're done today, within a couple of hours, I'll have the video posted. It takes a little bit of time to like download it and upload it, but I will have that on there. Make sure you're always watching the right stream. I do have a couple of other classes that I teach, like right after this I do a research method stream, and so make sure you're always, you can find them right here, or if you're on YouTube or Twitch, make sure you're watching the right one. But I will always post the recording. If you can't make it live, definitely watch it later. And if you are subscribed, then you can still get credit and answer the extra credit question for joining me. Okay? I know I'm talking so much, but does all that make sense? Are there any questions at all before we kind of go to the last couple of elements before we wrap this up? I'll give you the extra credit question and a couple of reminders. And then I will always hang out for the last like couple of minutes if there are any questions for me. Otherwise, that's kind of everything for the moment. There's still a couple more things and then we'll wrap it up. These will usually be a little bit shorter, as I said. Makes sense, all good. Okay, good. I'm glad you're feeling good. That makes me feel happy. So a couple of quick reminders for you. So the first one, and I will remind you of this every single week. Please try and take a moment every week to make sure you are subscribed. If you're looking at the chat, if you have a little football cake and a crown next to your name, you're subscribed and you're all good. If you do not, then you're not. If you can't figure it out, that's okay. Make sure you put your first and last name in the chat at some point. If you're subscribed, you don't need to do that. I can download your names. So again, please take some time to figure that out this week if you can. Those instructions are on Canvas. You can watch all of that. The other reminder, let me post this here in the chat for you. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, March 15th at 11:30 a.m. Right, so I posted that, and it looks like somebody just figured out the subscribing. Zach, great, thank you. Nice job, Zach, for figuring that out. So what we will do is we will plan on every Wednesday at 11:30, unless something comes up. I can tell you, I'm very excited about this. I am going on a cruise the week before spring break, and I will not be here. I will not be able to live stream with you from Mexico, sadly, even though that could be fun. So typically we will have a live stream every Wednesday at 11:30. You can plan on that, unless something comes up, in which case I will, of course, let you know. And again, if you cannot make these, just watch them later as a recording, and that's totally fine as well. Other than that, make sure that you get going on week number 1. Biggest thing, you got to get that mandatory orientation lecture and quiz completed by tonight at 11:59 p.m. There's also a little introductions discussion so I can get to know you. So make sure you get that book, get it registered, and complete that component right away. If you're struggling or if you're not able to do it by tonight, make sure you reach out to me so we can come up with other plans. The only other thing I want to go over is I'm going to give you the extra credit question and show you how to answer that. Every week, I will give you an extra credit question, and then you can go right here and answer it. So you have to do 2 things to be able to get extra credit, which hopefully answers your question here. By joining me live and answering the question. That's going to be how you get those 2 points. Or if you're watching this as a recording and you are subscribed, that will still count and you can still answer the question on here. So I'll give you the question, but you also have to have either joined me live or be subscribed and watch it later. Either one of those 2 things will give you access to getting those points. So if you click on this optional extra credit, it will say that. It'll give you a little reminder right here. But let me put the extra credit question in the chat and I'll show you how to answer that. So for this week, and I always type these out ahead of time just to make my life easier, I'm going to put this in the chat. And if you answer every single one of these, you can get up to, 2 points a week, 16 points of extra credit. Now that's a lot that's going to make up for a missed discussion or maybe a lower exam score. So I really would encourage you to take advantage of these. So in the chat, I'm going to put the week number 1 Twitch extra credit question. Okay. So your question for this week is, what does the phrase correlation does not equal causation mean? I want you to describe and give me an example. So I just put that in the chat. What does the phrase correlation does not equal causation mean? I want you to describe it and give me an example. When you're ready, once you've done all the reading, you're ready to answer it, you'll go to Canvas and you'll go to the week that we're in. So we're in week number 1 right now. You'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 1. And then up at the top, it's going to give you this spot where it says start assignment. So if you click on that, it brings up a text box where you can type your, I can't type and talk, type your response. And then you just down here hit submit. And when you hit submit, it gives you this little like confetti burst, which is fun. Oh, there were horseshoes in there today too. It's random, so you can enjoy that. And this is due, as it says up here, by March 19th. So you can do this week or next week, but it's due by the end of week 1 and 2. So when those 2 weeks are over, this is due. If you do them early and get it wrong, I do grade these periodically. So if you get it wrong, I'll let you know and you can still fix it. And if you ever want to just make sure that you're getting everything for each 2 weeks, at the end of each 2-week section, I have like a little wrap-up checklist that you can double check just to make sure that you've done everything. Otherwise, in general, if it's under that week, that's what I want you to do. And weeks 1 and 2 are open. Next week, when I see you on Wednesday, I will talk about chapters 3 and 4, discussions 3 and 4, and I'll spend a lot of time going over exam number 1 to make sure you're prepared and ready and know what to expect. We'll talk about the study guide, which is right here. But that's all that I wanted to go through today. I know I've talked a ton and I've gone kind of quickly. I'm sorry for that. But again, if you want to watch this again later, it will be posted right here. And then I will always end every session with like a good 5 minutes where I just hang out. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them live. It's a wonderful opportunity if you're confused about something, if you want to know more about a topic that we're covering. This is a wonderful spot to do that with me. Otherwise, if you don't have any questions, we are officially kind of done with our time. Go find a way to figure out the subscription if you can to Twitch. Get your ebook, get started on week number 1. Welcome to the class. I hope we have a wonderful short 8-week semester together. And again, what I'm going to do is I'll hang out for the next like 5 minutes or so. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Yes, I teach abnormal psych and human sexuality in person here on campus. I also teach research methods online. And then this intro psych one, obviously, as well. So if you love this class, you can always come join me again in the future, which is fun. So by buying the book, it will give you access to all the homework and exams. Yes. So all of the exams are on the ebook site. If you don't have the book, you won't be able to access them. So that's why it's so important to get it. And then everything else will be turned in on Canvas. So between Canvas and the ebook site, that's where you can find everything that you need. Good. I'm glad you appreciated this. I am more than happy to do this every week. I think it's really helpful. It's a wonderful chance to check in. Even though I can't see you, I love that you are here. So thank you so much for those of you who joined me. And if you're watching this later, thank you for watching it later. That's fine too. I know our schedules are all over the place, and so sometimes you won't be able to make it, and that's completely okay. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. If you are ever confused, reach out, email me, let me know. I can meet with you by Zoom. We can talk on here, whatever works. But I am here for you if you get lost or confused or need help, okay? I'm going to minimize my video so I'm not staring at myself. But if you have any questions, I will hang out for another like 5 minutes or so. And then I have another live stream for my research methods class. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you to say. Thank you so much. I really love psychology and I love teaching online, and I'm excited for our class. I hope it's a wonderful little 8-week class that you learn a lot, that you get excited about psych. And yeah, I'm here for you if you need me. All right. So I'm going to minimize this. Take care of yourselves. Good luck. And again, please feel free to reach out if you do have any questions, or if you're confused, or if you need help. All right. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And again, if you have anything you need, go ahead and put it in the chat or feel free to email me. You too, you too. Thank you so much. And I am still here. If you have questions, I am still sitting here in case you have any questions for me. You too. Have a wonderful day. I'll hang out for a couple more minutes before I close this to open the next live stream. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them in there. All right, everyone, it looks like most of you have logged out, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so that I can get going on my next live stream. But if you think of anything between now and when I see you next, feel free to email me. And thank you again so much for those of you who joined me on here live. I love it, and I'll see you all next week.